Alright, boys and girls, today's lesson is lesson 5-4, and we're going to talk about customary measures of length, which basically means what you use on a regular basis here. So I'm going to bring up a ruler, and these are the rulers you typically see in class, maybe at home, wherever you go. They are in inches. So I'm zooming in, so this isn't a natural inch, but this ruler starts at 0. Most rulers, every ruler will start at 0, and most of them will end at 12, because it's normally 1 foot, because there's 12 inches in a foot. So this one's a cutoff. It's just a piece that I can show you to kind of talk to you about it. But these are the inches. Okay, so naturally you're going to start at 0, because when you start counting, you start at 1, right? But before you say 1, you're really at 0. You don't go 0, 1, because you're starting at 0. So you don't say the 0. Here, the 0's there because it has to be there. It has to start at something. So these are the inches. Okay, all these, the ones that have the number are the inches. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what's in between these inches. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then if you go to the whole, which is the inch, is another 8. So what I want you to see here is I actually want to erase what I just did. And I want you to see there are 8 chunks. Okay, there are 8 chunks. Here's this chunk there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal chunks from the 0 to the 1. Okay, and at the end of each chunk there's a line. Okay, there's a line there, line there, a line there, a line there, here, 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 and then you get to the next hole, and there's technically a line because there has to be. Okay, because that chunk is meeting that hole. So each one of these lines represents something else. Because there are 8 chunks, and then will be, I guess, 8 lines, because you technically count the 1, the whole, they are considered eighths of an inch. Okay, and the reason why that is because there's 8 lines, so each one of those lines represent 1 out of 8. And next unit we'll be going over fractions, so it'll be nice to really get a better understanding of fractions. But these are all 1. That's 1/8 of an inch. That's 1/8 of an inch. This is so they would be 1/8, and then 2/8, and then 3/8, and then 4/8, and 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then when you get to the last one, it's actually an 8/8, which most of you know, any numerator that's on top of a denominator that are the same, that equals 1. So in this case, it would equal the whole. Naturally, this whole is 1 because you start at 0. But in other cases, that might equal 2 or 3, but that equals a whole. So this means by a 1, it means it equals the whole. So each of these lines represent 1/8. Okay, so each of the lines are an 1/8. So if you start from the 0 and start measuring over, and I need to kind of erase some of this stuff because I made a mess, and you're going to measure something that is this long. Okay, we're going to start at the 0. Of course, when you measure, you always start at the 0. What you're going to do is you're going to take a look at how many, you know it didn't get to the hole, and it's not even to the 1/2 inch. It stops at the 1, 2, 3, hopefully you know, 3/8, because that's 3 of the 8 chunks. This is 3 of the 8 chunks, so this is 3/8 of an inch. 3/8 inch, okay? So if I were to have something that, and I want to get rid of all of everything I've been writing here, and I can't, of course not. Let me just push it down, I guess. If I want to measure something that is from here all the way over to here, once we get past our hole, our answer would be 1 and something, because you're past your hole. So if you look, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the lines, so 1, sorry, I wrote that, I need to write that above the line. 1 5/8 inch. Okay, because once we go past that hole, we need to put our hole here. And then we keep counting, and we're at the 5th line, so we're at 5 of the 8 needed to be another hole. Okay, hopefully you're seeing this. Let me kind of get rid of it. Actually, I'm just going to move it out of the way. Not all of it. I don't know why I'm having so much problem today. Alright, I'll show you another example. If you have something that goes from here all the way over to this line, right there. So if we were to stop at this mark right here, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to count how many holes. So 1, 2, 3. You don't even need to draw arrows. You could see it's after the 3. So your answer is going to be 3 and so many inches. So then you count now how many lines. 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 3 and 3 what? 1/8 inches. So 3 and 3/8 inches. So that's how long this line is. Okay. So you'll see some rulers, maybe the rulers we even have here, some will even have more lines in between each of these. Okay, to make it even smaller chunks. Those, if you made more lines there, you would have 16 of them. So each line would represent 1/16. But we're not going to go over the 16ths today. We're just going to stick with the 8ths. So spent most of the lesson trying to talk to you about the ruler, but that's fine because that's basically what the lesson's about. So here's a vocabulary up top: inch, foot, yard, and mile. So number 1 says the line segment is 1 inch long. Name an object that is about 1 inch long. Okay, just think of something that's about an inch long. Remember, this is an inch. Think of something that's an inch long. Next is 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Remember that whole ruler that I just showed you? That's 12-inch long ruler. Okay, and that's a foot. So think of something that's about a foot long. Next one, 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Think of something that's 3 feet long. Okay? And then number 4, longer distances are measured in miles. So 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet or 1,760 yards. Name a distance that is about 1 mile long. Think of something that's about a mile long. And here's our fun conversion. It's really easy if you just go by ones each time. This one they're doubling each time. But that's okay because you know how to double numbers. So if 1 foot is 12 inches, then you know 2 is 24, 3 is 36, 4 is 48, 5 is 60. You just either multiplying this by 12 or you're just going up by 12 each time, only because we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, 2 through 10, 2 yards equals 6 inches. So how does 2 become 3 or 2 become 6? Multiply by 3. Because you know there are 3 yards or 3 feet in 1 yard. So we have 4 yards multiplied by 3 gives you 12 feet. 6 yards multiplied by 3 gives you 18. 8 yards would give you 24. 10 yards would give you 30. And down here they're just making you think about it a little bit more. So 9 yards will equal how many inches? Okay, so this is where it gets tricky. You know that there are 3 yards. There's a multi-step here. There are 3 yards equal 1 foot, and 1 foot equals 12 inches. Okay? So 9 yards, 3 becomes a 9 because it's multiplied by 3. So you must multiply each of these by 3. So it equal 3 feet, which in turn will equal 36 inches. Okay? Tricky one for you. Okay, so the next 8, 9, and 10 are also tricky, but they're multi-steps. So you have to figure out, in number 8, you'll need to figure out, well, I'm struggling today with my, number 8, you have to look at 26 feet and inches. You should be able to do that because you know how many inches are in a foot. Okay, here, inches in a mile. So what you need to do is find out how many inches are in a foot and go from a foot. See up here it says 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. So you need to work your inches into feet and then your feet into miles. Here you know how many feet are in a mile. It tells you up top. There are 5,280 feet in a mile. So 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. And if you have 4 miles, then you're multiplying that by 4. So you must multiply that by 4. And then here you have to do a little transitioning. So let me get this page out of the way. You can work on that on your own. And then here's our friendly rulers. We just went over this pretty much. Okay, it says to the nearest 1/8 inch. Here we have 1, 2, 3. So our answer is 3 and something. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4/8. And if anybody really knows fractions, 4/8. Anytime your numerator is half the denominator, it actually equals a half. So you could say 3 1/2, either or. Do the next 5 on your, or next 4 on your own, and then we'll get back together. I'll give you about a minute. So pause it, and unpause it when you're done. Alright, so the first one you see we have 1 and 2. So our answer is 2 and something because we're just past it. So we're at the first line, so it's the first eighth, so 2 and 1/8. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's 4 and something. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's 4 and 5/8. Really easy. Measurement's really easy as long as you understand what you're doing. Here we're at after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're after the 5. We're not to the 6 yet, so it's 5 and something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 and 6 out of the 8, 6/8. And here, don't be tricked because it starts at 6. Okay, so 7, 8, 9. We're not quite to 10, we're at 9. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know how this is, 7/8 is really close to 8/8? That means your answer should be really close to the next hole. So 9 and 7/8. So hopefully that's what you got. If you have time to do some independent work, you're going to want to go back and do the page right before this, page 177. If not, you can do it during your independent station.